Hello, I'm Simon.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article each week and we talk about what we find. Dan, what are we talking about this week?
This week, Simon, we're talking about 2001, A Space Travesty.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
Mm.
Is this a movie parody of 2001, A Space Odyssey?
It most certainly is.
Is it a porn parody or is it a regular parody?
It looks like a regular parody, but I can't be sure.
To be fair,
makes it even better.
I love 2001 so much. If anyone has been able to make a porn parody of that, I will be astonished. I'm sure, people must have tried, but it's a difficult film to make a porn parody of. So, when was this released? Give me an idea.
2000.
Well, that's off-brand, isn't it?
Yeah, poor. It was released on October 31st, 2000, for its Tokyo release. It's 2001 A Space Travesty is a 2000 Canadian-German spoof comedy film starring actor Leslie Nielsen. The film has a few sequences parodying elements of 2001 A Space Odyssey, but is not focused on parodying Odyssey.
So, Germans, famous for their comedy. I mean, wow, that's a lot to... Leslie Nielsen's solid talent. He was in Airplane, he was in Naked Gun. Wow. I assume...
the best part of this is the budget.
How much?
45 million.
You're kidding. All right, so...
I'm deadly serious.
The Taha didn't realise this last episode, but we don't actually... I'm not allowed to look at the article when Dan is describing it. The other person can't see it, so that is astonishing to me. So does it look like it cost $45 million?
I'm looking at what would be the DVD front cover, and I would go, no, not a chance in hell.
Is this, do you reckon, a Jack and Jill type situation where it's been embezzled into the people making the film?
It was directed by Alan A. Goldstein.
I don't know that name, I don't think.
He is an American film director and screenwriter, perhaps best known for directing the Charles Bronson vehicle Death Wish 5, The Face of Death, and the Leslie Nielsen comedy 2001: A Space Travesty. So, of the two things he's known for, this is one of them.
Oh my god! Death Wish. So that's the one with the Charles Bronson. They reviewed that one of them on Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst. So immediately, I am so up for this guy's films. So I just looked something up as a depressing kind of thing. The 45 million was the budget, right?
Yeah.
So the budget of the most expensive original Star Wars film, Return of the Jedi, was $32.5 million. So you're telling me, admittedly that's not adjusting for inflation, but
yeah, you're
telling me that this film cost approximately as much, or even more than Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
2001: A Space Travesty currently holds only 16% of audience approbation on Rotten Tomatoes.
So, we might have to watch. We have to add this to the list of films we need to watch together.
This quote, oh my god, it gets better. The website Need Coffee praised Nielsen as comedy style, despite the film's silliness. They go on to say, "If you're just in the mood for silly, puerile humour, and we all are sometimes, or you're under 13 and the word penis sends you into gales of laughter, then check out this one. Otherwise, skip it and check out something with a bit more sophistication." Amazing. I
love how you started that quote off in the, "Oh my god, Stacey, look at his penis" kind of voice, and then you just rapidly were like, "Nah, it. I can't be arsed."
I'm done.
Wow.
Jason James from the Nut Gallery gave the film only 1 star.
Are you sure this isn't a porn
5.
parody? Sorry, just to be absolutely clear.
Yeah. Stating, "Overall, I'm not a big fan of spoof movies to begin with, so it would be pretty special for me to like it. Even with that, this still is not even a good spoof movie, making it even harder to watch."
Wow, this sounds terrible.
Jesus.
We have to watch it.
Richard Schrieb from Moria.co also gave a film a very poor review, nominating it for Worst Film of 2001.
And that's the same... Well, oh, no. When did Attack of the Clones come out? Is this worse than Attack of the Clones?
2002, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2002, so it narrowly missed out on that competition. That was the same year as Fellowship of the Ring came out. So at least we now know the high point and the low point of 2001.
This is just amazing.
So can you give me a plot indication? Good grief, we're actually running this podcast and actually talking about the article. I never thought this would happen. But this sounds so terrible.
We're going to go through the plot, and you're going to try and make sense of it.
Okay, right, here we go.
Marshal Richard Dixon. No, hang on. 3 words in, can't handle it. Marshal Richard Dick Dix, A special detective saves a fast food chain restaurant from a terrorist hostage situation, much to the displeasure of the police chief. He drives away and back to the police station where he meets his boss, who is a police worker, Cassandra Minaj.
Sorry, just to be clear, she's a police worker. What's that?
Oh, who is with a police worker.
So the person he's reporting to, this guy's boss, the chief of police, their boss is with a police worker.
I mean, this just draws attention to sometimes you find Wikipedia articles that are so poorly written. He drives away and back to the police station, comma, where he meets his boss, comma, who is with a police worker, Cassandra Minaj. So he goes to see his boss, who is with a woman who is a police worker, Cassandra Minaj. She retells her experience of the cloning of the President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton.
Oh my God.
Who remains unnamed throughout the film. Dix is then sent to a cloning facility, a moon base called Vegan. He causes a mayhem. He causes a mayhem. What is that? He causes a mayhem on the way there, reaches Vegan, and is met by Lieutenant Bradford Shih Tzu at the security check.
That was a very bad time to take a drink. Oh my God.
On the way to meet the main suspect of the cloning, Dr. Griffin Pratt, Dix experiences strange happenings throughout the cloning involving certain aliens who live there.
I mean,
this is just...
It does sound slightly worse than Attack of the Clones, I won't lie, which is really saying something.
Just the names of these characters get better and better. During a very strange incident involving an alien about to explode, Dix meets Captain Valentino Di Pasquale, with whom he will share his quarters. Dix and Shih Tzu get to Dr. Pratt's quarters and talk to him. Shih Tzu leaves, and Pratt takes Dix on a tour of his cloning facility. While on the tour, he meets Dr. Uschi Kunstler, with whom he must take the elevator to meet Mrs. Madfeenage.
Oh my God.
Dr. Kunstler deserts the two, and they make their way to a party where he suspects they may be.
What?
This is just...
What? That just came out of left field?
This is so...
Okay, we will have to watch this next. So what we'll do the next time Patreon comes through, which will be very soon actually, with Wikicast $1, we will use that $1 to fund one of us, like to get a ticket for one of us to see the other, and we will film some stuff because. Good God, this sounds amazing.
This sounds hilarious.
I can't believe we're actually talking about the article. I mean, this is unprecedented. I've been recording for, we've probably been going for, 5 minutes, and we're still on topic? It's a record. Especially considering what else has been happening, over the past week. Of all the weeks when we could have other things to talk about. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention from this article? Is there any, how much money did it make? If it cost 45 million, how much does it make back?
You know what? It doesn't even talk about it. I'm going to have to go on to IMDb. It's got 3.4 out of 5.
What? Sorry, 3.5 stars out of 5 stars on IMDb.
Oh, sorry, no, 3.5 stars out of 10.
There we go. I was expecting it to be out of 10. Yeah.
You know, I can't see anything about how much it made.
Maybe it didn't make anything. Maybe it literally made no money.
User reviews: an unfortunate display of bad comedy writing. Okay. Then someone goes on to write 4 paragraphs about how it's awful.
Well, we now have to do Mr. Plinkett on this. We have to write a really extensive review on how it is the best thing ever.
God, it's just shocking.
So if that's our article of choice, I mean, I feel like we should possibly reference a few things that have been happening. I actually a little bit about how the podcast gets made again. I keep a post-it note on my desk when something happens that I think we should talk about in the podcast. On this post-it note, and we will get back to all of these, we've got regular Wikimedia donation. I finally set up our regular donation before the next Patreon comes up, so we are now donating £20 a month to the Wikimedia Foundation via the generosity of our people on Patreon. So that is amazing. Thank you,
patrons.
We said $20, and it was easier to do £20 because we have that much support. So thank you guys. You're contributing, all of you together, to making human knowledge free for all. So that's one thing.
So when you guys are on Wikipedia and you see that donation button, you can know in your heart of hearts that you are donating.
It's like, I've got it covered. If I donate to patreon.com/the Wikicast. So that's something to talk about. There's also, and we will come back to this one, your party, your birthday bash. Also, another bullet point that says Sky News. Most of this post-it note, however, is just a description of a dream I had. I know that the rules with dreams are no one cares unless there's sex or you are in it. You know, the person that you're talking to is in it. I think you were in this one, but I don't. There wasn't any sex. That much is sure. But
thank goodness for that.
Right, so I'll read out the post-it note, the little bullet point that I've got here. My nuclear detonation dream, parentheses, lure warlord into city, square bracket, after he cut champion in half, square, end square bracket, then we go to an Italian restaurant in the city, close parentheses. So, if I remember correctly, This was a dream I had 2 or 3 days ago, and I woke up and I was horrified. I was so scared. But basically, there was like, oh god, you didn't play Dawn of War, did you?
No, I had friends who I used to go to their houses and play it, so I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so if you think the Avatar of Cain, like a 30 foot tall flaming monster with a massive blade, for some reason my dream started with this like kind of monster rampaging through a city, and then there was a champion that had like trained himself up, and he was going to go up, and he was like, I am ready to defeat this beast, and he goes up, and this beast Avatar thing sees him and slices down with his sword, and a bit like Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad-dûm, where he puts Glamdring up and he stops the sword unexpectedly, and it's like clang. Except what happened in my dream was the champion put his sword up, and then the Avatar's sword just went through the sword and exactly through the middle of the champion, and he just like split in two along his axis. So we, and I say we, and I think I do mean precisely me and you, rather than like an amorphous kind of me and other people, decided that we were going to nuke the thing from orbit via like a nuclear missile, but there were still loads of people in the city, and we, for some reason, were then going to lure it into the city by going to an Italian restaurant. And I think there may have been mobsters there. I'm not 100% sure. I think Al Capone may have been there. I think it was called like Rigoletti's or something like that, the name of the restaurant. And we went underground to like this little alcovey bit, and we were having like cannellini or whatever the we were having. And then out of the window, there was a really bright flash. And I remember thinking, do I say anything to all the people in this restaurant that that's a nuclear bomb that's just gone off? And so in my dream, what I did, you had to remember, like, the under part of this restaurant is like a basement, and there are windows that sort of face up onto ground level, and there's a bookcase between two of these windows, and then there are tables kind of all around. It's, I don't know, like 10 feet wide and then maybe 30 feet long. I've really calmly just got up, went to the bookcase, and then like sat with my back against the wall, and then the windows blasted open as this like nuclear wind smashed everybody out of the way.
Jesus Christ.
And I was there like with covering my ears and yelling at people like, get down, cover your ears, as the nuclear wind was already blasting through. For some reason I was okay. And I was just like, have you ever actually imagined what it would be like to be in a city that gets hit by a nuclear warhead? And it's not like you're on the street and you're just immediately going to get vaporized. Like, imagine being in a situation where you could potentially survive. Like, what on earth do you do on like a short time scale? Like, how do you survive and everything like that? But also, like, a blast going on, you can see all this destruction around you. At what point do you get out of your hidey hole? And then how do you contribute to society reforming? Like, do you ever think about that kind of thing?
I've thought about it when I've watched Ed play Fallout 4, and I don't like thinking about it, because it genuinely is I think one of the scariest scenarios you could be in, especially the thinking you might survive. Like, it's a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could not believe how scared I was when I woke up. Like, I genuinely woke up and I was horrified, and that's a word I don't use very often to sort of describe my feelings towards anything, but like, I felt so hollow. Like, I don't think people, I don't know, maybe this is in my head because of career at the moment, maybe, but like, just the idea of nuclear war, I don't think people have really, I don't know, it's become a concept rather than an actual possibility, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to find this thing. There was a film by the BBC. It was banned by the BBC because it accurately depicted, that was it, The War Game. I'll link it in the show notes because it's on YouTube. It was banned by the BBC because it too accurately described what a nuclear attack would look like. In like a documentary style, showing the immediate aftermath the build-up, like it was a potential situation building up between the Soviet Union and the USA, and then the Soviet Union attacking the UK. And it shows like that build-up, the actual happenings, and then the year after a nuclear attack on the UK. And it is the most harrowing thing I think I've ever seen. It's not an easy watch. It's 50 minutes long, so it's not even a full feature. Don't watch it if you're after like a happy-go-lucky rom-com, but I think it is so important that people our age and younger watch it, because we have very fortunately grown up in a like in a world where nuclear war isn't really a possibility. Like, I mean, it is, but it's not like the Cold War in the 70s or 80s where it was constantly like it could happen at any moment. And so the effect, like us, we talk about nuclear weapons in a very distanced way. So I feel like everybody should watch this, because if you come out of watching this film and you're still like pro nuclear weapon, and you still think that it's a good idea that we have them or even consider using them, then you need to get your head looked at, because there's something desperately wrong with you. It's really, really grim. Anyway, how was your birthday party?
Yeah, I mean, I'm now really scared.
Sorry.
I hate thinking about
nuclear war,
that kind of stuff. The party was great though. It was really good. We Friday night kind of went fairly well. We started off at Hugo's. We had some drinks there, and we kind of donned our black tie and masquerade masks. And then at around we got to Monkey Suit at about 10 to 9 for things to kind of kick off at 9. And kind of set up there, got the music going, and then gradually more and more people trickled in over the next hour to 2 hours, and it was just really nice. Loads and loads of people came. I'm so glad that so many people were free. I think the final count was about 85, 95.
Wow.
Which was really, really nice. I got some really nice presents too. 3 of the girls, two Chapel girls, and 2 singers girls and a Chapel Choir girl chipped in and got Hugo and I t-shirts.
Oh.
On the front of mine, it said I and then a red heart, the Eschenwald's Trinity Te Deum. And on the back, it had the first page of the music from the score. And Hugo got exactly the same, but for Noble in B minor, which was amazing.
Of course. The Hugo Wickham tenor line.
And I got some nice candles. I got a book-scented candle, which is so me. It's amazing.
So a book-scented candle?
Yeah, so the scent is called The Reader, and it's meant to smell like an old book.
So you're burning one of the people that listens to our podcast, is what you're doing?
Basically, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I want one.
It smells divine. Just kind of like a plethora of other things. And then everybody went out to Fever. I did not, because I had to be up stupidly early the next day for a rehearsal of the Bach Matthew Passion with singers, which I was stupendously hungover for the first few hours. And then Chapel Choir had a concert the next night in East Budley, so that was another really late evening. We ended up getting back we were all gathered in the Mary Harris Chapel at about 10 past midnight, being like, well, this is
you were in the chapel past midnight, did you say?
Well, we all got back, and then we had to wait for everyone to come back and put the cassocks away, and as we were all leaving, it was about 10 minutes past midnight.
Oh my god. Was it a good concert though?
It was really good. It was just like basically all the choral bangers we've ever done. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
But we were all quite tired after that. I had work the next day too, which was pretty draining, actually.
You've had a busy couple of days. You've been swept off your feet.
It's been a busy time. I had Monday off. I had work today. Got work tomorrow, and then I think I've got Friday off. But yeah, it's been busy. We've been doing lots of things, getting everything ready. We've got the Matthew Passion this weekend on Saturday.
Oh my god! I didn't realise that was this week. Good luck. Do you want to plug that to people who may be in Exeter? We have several listeners in Exeter, I know.
Yeah. Come to the Salvation Army Temple. It starts at 7:30 on Saturday evening. It's Exeter University singers and Exeter Bach Society doing the St Matthew Passion. It should be really good. If you want to come along, do. Should be nice. If you're not even that fussed about the Passion, which I'm not really, come, we can have a drink afterwards. There you go. Plug. What about you? So what have you been up to?
Well, I was going to say, so I anticipated that you'd be horrifically hungover on Saturday morning, because I was in the chat for the most recent Twitch live stream of the podcast.
Yes.
Which was really fun. Although for some reason I uploaded the video like 3 or 4 days beforehand, but it didn't go out, so we just had a lovely gif of you being fabulous with the audio over the top of it. So shout out to everyone who was there for the live streams. If you didn't catch this, I think we talked about it the past 2 weeks. Dan's Forehead has been streaming the episode as it comes out on Saturday morning. I think this was at 12, I want to say, and then everyone was kind of...
Forehead is a star.
She is,
as we've...
Great, and I know exactly the emoji she'll be using, which is the girl waving. I can't remember the name of it on Twitch. Every time that her name came up, was just everyone was like freaking out a little bit. But it was really, really fun being in the chat, and hopefully, do you reckon, can you make that this time round? Do you think? Because I'll be away.
I should be able to, because if it's in the morning, I shouldn't start work until about 11.
Oh well, I don't think it's until later. I don't think it'll be until 11 or 12. So.
Okay.
I'm afraid, dear readers in the stream, you may have to do without us because I'll be in Cambridge because there's the Cambridge Half Marathon that I am meant to be running, but I am not because I'm injured, which is a great shame. But Pixel Girl is running, so I'm going to be there giving 110% support. So, I'm away basically, so you'll have to do it without us for a week. But it was really, really fun being in the chat. And if you are not aware, I'll include a link to her Twitch, to Dan's Forehead's Twitch in the description. You can have a chat about it. I just think it's really fun. That's why we keep mentioning it in these episodes, because it's just an awesome bit of community. Like the community of this podcast, as we said last time, it's just crazy. It's incredible.
A+.
The fan fiction, the fan art, the fact that we have a wiki, the fact you guys stream it. You've been excited for merch, and I will be hopefully sorting out t-shirts very soon. I've just done the final design for the t-shirts because it has to be simplified from the version that's online so that we can print it. So I've just sorted that out. So fingers crossed, it won't be long until you can actually get a physical thing with the Wikicast logo on it. I am just amazingly, I'm in awe of what this community has done. Genuinely, it's incredible.
The best.
I mean, half of you, I should say, the half of you that like dogs can, take it or leave it, really. But the half of you that like cats, including Taha from last week, our amazing guest, you're the OGs here. The true readers are the readers that like cats.
Well, I mean, you say true. That statement is lies. It is deception.
Lies.
Lies, deception.
Save Wakanda.
Save the rebellion.
Save the dream.
Save the dream. Yeah, nice. Very good. Very good. Well done, everyone.
It's the same character. No. It's really. It's like Forrest Whitaker. Yeah. I was talking to Alex about this, as in Thermoflynamics. What did Forrest Whitaker become famous for? Like, don't say Rogue One.
He writes a lot of choral music.
Does he really?
Yeah. Oh, Eric Whitaker. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. One's got glorious hair, and the other one's got a lazy eye. They're basically identical. I mean, one's nice. Like 60 and black, and the other one is looks 30 and very white. They're practically the same person.
Someone needs to do Dan's Forehead. I have absolute faith in you in being able to do like a meld of those two people. I want to see I want to basically see what the child of Eric Whitaker and Forrest Whitaker would look like. And we're going to call it Ferric Whitaker.
Can we spell Whitaker differently to either of them?
It needs to be, Forric. Forric. Forric.
This sounds like the kind of creature that results from, when you teleport somebody, like in The Fly, and there's 2 bits of DNA in there, and you open the door and there's all this smoke that comes out, and this horrible monstrosity comes out. It's like, I'm Forric Whitaker. Hello.
This creature that's splinched after apparating poorly.
Oh God, splinching. Is he recoiled?
My Forehead, that's your challenge. Please tweet at Simon and me, the love child of Eric Whitaker and Forrest Whitaker, and Simon and I will retweet it at Eric Whitaker and Forrest Whitaker.
I mean, we do need to have a discussion about these memes, though. The baguette memes need to stop. Like, if this is where I'm going to include the one vine that's in my head.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay?
Like, it's time to stop. Like, it's just. I am amazed that you've made it last this long. Honestly, it's
going on and on and on.
I mean, we need to provide. There you go, Forric Whitaker. We provided you with new meme material. These bread memes are causing me pun.
Wow, that is awful.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed. I'm sorry, everyone.
Even
Simon's
by my standards, that is terrible.
I can't believe you because it's French.
Oh, you can't believe me. Croissant.
Nice.
It's just I can't,
High caliber. It's witty. I like it. It works on many levels.
I'm drawing a Mont Blanc right now.
Wow. Can we all just... This is this moment in the podcast where a quiet prayer needs to be said for Simon and Dan.
A minute of silence for the death of comedy.
Yeah. Instead of the last post playing in that minute of silence, you just hear in the distance.
So I'll go back to Forrest Whitaker. So I swear that he became really known for the first film that he's in Platoon. Forrest Whitaker was in Platoon.
Is he?
I do not remember that. I love that film.
He was in Snakes on a Plane.
No, that's Samuel L. Jackson. That's a different black actor.
He was Mace Windu in Star Wars. He was he played God in Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, these were all the same person. To be fair, that is how Hollywood pretty much views black actors, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't actually racism. It was
that was satire.
It was satire, bitch.
That was satire, bitch. So it appears that the thing that made him famous was Bird, which is a film about Charlie Parker, who's one of my favourite saxophonists, for the record. Though, good God, it tanked at the box office. My God. Bird, it cost between $9 and $14 million, and it made $2.2 million.
$2.2.
Yeah, 2.2. Is that even possible? Oh yeah, you can do dimes, can't you? Yeah, so Bird, The Crying Game, and Platoon. Because in my head, I know him from The Last King of Scotland. That was the first sort of big film that I remember him being in. But he's also in Arrival, and also obviously Star Wars and Black Panther. Playing apparently the playing role in everything. So there we go.
There you go.
Oh, like looking through the things he's been awarded for, like, yeah, Last King of Scotland was what made him famous. Like, he was nominated for like the Academy Award and stuff like that. So the other thing which was on my list of things to talk about was Sky News. So earlier today, I was interviewed on Sky News, wasn't I? That was fun.
You were. I was watching it just before we started recording. I saw your silly mug on my screen. I thought, what's he doing now? What's he been arrested for? Science vlogger Simon Clark has been found possession of. Oh no. What did you go on a tour to Japan and go through this forest and
Oh, we don't talk about him. He's ostracized. Except YouTube have just re-enabled adverts on his videos, so I guess they weren't that cross. Thanks, YouTube, dragging everyone else down.
Thanks, YouTube.
So
if you look at, I think YouTube, if you go to YouTube headquarters and you look on the wall, they'll have a massive compass. That's YouTube's moral compass, and the needle just spins.
Now
just whizzing round.
I will definitely defend them for their response to the second time he f***ed up, which was the tasering the dead rat thing. Like, they actually then removed him from all the stuff like the preferred advertising, and they cut his advertising revenue, and they removed him from recommended videos. Admittedly, I didn't think that was going to be permanent, but I thought it'd be a bit longer than 18 days. But what they also did was they did actually post a list of actions they will take against creators who breach their guidelines in the same way that Logan Paul did. And it's the stuff they did to him, but they're actually codifying and saying, look, if you break our code of conduct, this is what we will do. Which as a YouTuber, I think is a really important step in the right direction. They have been too lenient on him, I think, and they definitely were too slow to respond to criticism.
Yeah.
But I think they have kind of come out of this very battered, but they have eventually done the right thing, I think.
Speaking of coming out of things battered, how was your interview?
Yeah, yes, I actually did have a beer afterwards to celebrate. That's why I'm a little bit loosey-goosey at the moment. So yeah, the interview was fun. They asked me basically so this is to do with the sun stratospheric warming. What's that? And I was like, oh cool, I know this. So I just gave a minute or 2 minute spiel about this is what the vortex is, this is what a sudden warming is, this is how it affects the weather. And then they asked me a bunch of questions about meteorology, like, is the worst of it over? Is it safe to travel? And I was like, I don't know. So I didn't say that. I kind of covered, and I gave what I thought was, I'm pretty sure is the correct answer. That, in the East.
Did you hear the sassy weather woman?
I know. So despite what we've just heard,
she totally sassed you off. She was like, yeah, despite what we've just heard, there should be some sunny spells and a bit of rain. And you were like,
Yeah,
I was like, leave my boy alone. He's doing a good job.
They asked me if the worst is over, and I was like, so we've hit the beast from the east, and I so nearly made a joke there, and I was like, my interview had just followed a big serious piece on the Syrian war, and I was like, no, Simon, don't do that. But the beast from the east are coming, and we'd had the snow from the east coast, and I was like, well, so that's happened, but what's interesting is there's this big swath of snow coming up from the southwest, which we don't normally get. So the West Country is particularly not suited to snow. We don't have the infrastructure, so that's going to be very interesting. That's one to keep an eye on. I didn't, at no point did I say that everywhere was going to get snow and it was all doom and gloom, but she definitely just asked me off a little bit, which was quite funny. I was terrified, as you'll see I put a screenshot of it on Twitter and on YouTube, on Facebook, like my doors into my studio behind me. I was so terrified my parents were going to do the whole, the Korean kids coming in and like.
See, if I'd been up there at yours for filming something, I would have put on like that small child's coat that she had on and just kind of like waltzed on in, and then had like, if Liv was there, like coming in, grabbing me, dragging me out.
Well, no, you have to remember, you'd need you to be in the little walker, because there were two kids. There was like the girl who came in, like all like brash with a jacket on, and then there's the baby in the walker who follows them in, and then the mum comes and grabs them both. So we'd need you, Liv, and my mum all in on this. So yeah.
It's been so funny.
I was terrified they were going to do it, except you know what? They didn't actually watch. Like they watched 5 minutes before me, and they were like, "Nah, they must have decided against it," and then they just turned over. So they missed me being on the news. Thanks, Mum and Dad. I love you very much, but I love how you just didn't have the patience.
I thought you did a good job, mate. Well done.
I was a bit scared. I was monitoring my pulse beforehand, which is actually what I did before my Viva, and it was at about the same level. But on air, the fact that they just eased in with like, what is the stratospheric sun warming? And I was like, okay, cool, I know this. I can definitely answer this. That eased me in. But like, it was definitely very nerve-wracking doing it live. And I was surprised at how little I didn't stammer, I didn't stumble at all. So like, I am pleased with it. I'm proud that I said yes to it, because I think it could have been easy to chicken out.
You didn't shiver with anticipation. There we go. Nice. Good work. Well done, everybody.
Yeah, no, that was fun. I also got called Dr. Simon Clark on national TV, which was fun. I mean, I'm technically not a doctor yet, because I haven't done I've started my thesis corrections, but I have not. I've not finished my training, so to speak. I haven't graduated. But if they want to call me Dr. Simon Clark, then I'm not going to stop them.
No.
So that's all my bullet points done, and I feel like and we want to avoid having a marathon episode like last time, which was nearly 2 hours of high quality. Well, no, low quality Wikicast.
Tesco home
brand Wikicast.
Co-op irresistible.
Yeah, thank you. We had an upgrade. Thank you. We should seek to move on, because we also do have quite a few emails to get back to. We didn't have much of a chance to read emails out last week. So should we take a bit of a leap over into Critics Corner?
Let's do it. Here we go. Hop, skip, and a jump. Nice.
So that was the noise that I was making at Liv last time I was in Cambridge. Like, that was my alien abduction noise.
Wow.
For some reason, she found this hilarious. It's like sometimes Liv, she's like you in that sometimes she has like a resonant frequency of humor, and if you hit it, it's like out of all proportion to how funny the thing is, she just breaks in the same way that you do. And for some reason, that broke her last time. It was quite funny. So me just pretending to be abducted by aliens and like rising up on the balls of my feet, going. She found hilarious. Anyway, yeah. What have you been watching, Dan?
I haven't been watching a great deal, but I've been listening to a lot of things.
Right.
I've been listening to, basically on repeat for the past week now. Since we finished last week's episode, the Bach B minor Mass.
Yes, Queen.
Oh, there's another thing.
Oh?
That I don't think I mentioned last week.
Oh?
Maybe I did. I can't remember. Which it's going to be really embarrassing if I did mention it. You know how 2 weeks ago I had quite an exciting thing happening? I had an audition.
Oh, yes, you did.
Ooh. Well, on the note of music, I can now actually go into detail about what my audition was. So 2 weeks ago, I auditioned for Exeter Cathedral for their tenor choral scholar position, which would mean that I'd be in the cathedral choir, which is very exciting. It'd be a massive step up musically. And last week on Thursday, I got a got a call, and I only went and got it.
Way! Boy!
So I'll be I'll be starting in the cathedral choir, like, I guess mid-August, which means that this is my time with the chapel choir and ex-university singers is coming to a close, because I'll obviously have to stop both of those. I was super nervous, and I didn't hear back from them for a while. I auditioned on the Tuesday, and then they got back to me the following Thursday. But yeah, I've only gone and done it.
So you're going to be doing cathedral scholarship in the last year of uni, is that right?
Yes.
So that's going to be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to be quitting everything else, so
right.
It should actually provide me with quite a nice kind of like work uni balance, because I won't do Apple in my final year. I was never going to do that because 20 hours a week on top of studies and music is too much. But it would mean that when I'm on campus, I'm only on campus to be working and focusing on my final year. And when I want to be doing music, I'll be doing it at the cathedral every evening for services and rehearsals. And Saturdays I get off, Sunday mornings and afternoons.
So you presumably been listening basically to a lot of music to get yourself ready then, I guess.
Yep. So I've been listening to, I have 3 or 4 different albums that are just psalms. So each album has maybe 103 tracks.
Good grief.
And I just listen, and so now I can hear a chant and pretty much sing the rest of you, that one, which is quite good. So in my audition, I actually remember I had to pick a number between 1 and 30, which would give us the evening.
Yeah.
And then pick a number between 1 and 5, and that would usually give you the chant. Depending on if it was a particularly longer evening or a shorter one, obviously it would have been less of a number. But I think I picked 3, and it was a Havagul chant, which then went on to something else. But they were all fine. I auditioned with Panis Angelicus, that classic oversung number.
Is that a Rutter classic?
I don't believe so.
Let me Google
but
that
I also
quickly.
auditioned with Comfort Ye from The Messiah.
Nice.
Which I liked. And then I had 2 sight reading tests, which was like a contemporary one, which was really, really difficult. Tim Noon, the director of music at Exeter Cathedral, said, "Don't worry, you'll never have to sing this piece again because it's dreadful, but it is really good for sight reading tests." There was this one bar where there were like a group of 8 quavers, and the first 4 were ascending in sharps, or ascending it, was ascending in sharps, and then the final 4 were descending in flats. And it was really hard. Like, he played that bar. I said, "Be careful because bar 13 is a bit difficult." And then he quickly played it and then said some other stuff. And all I did, I didn't even listen to anything he was saying through that bit. I was singing the piano in my head over and over again. So I sacrificed the previous bar. I didn't sing that completely right, but then I nailed the other one because I just remembered how he played it. Which I think was kind of a test of like, can he either just read it, or if I play it to him, will he remember?
So it wasn't Rutter. No, it was César Franck.
Yeah,
wrote Spanish and Jet, the setting. Who incidentally taught Louis Vierne, one of our favorite composers. Which is kind of cool. That's very cool. So that's you sorted for next year then.
That's me sorted. Yeah, I'm going to be a cathedral scholar.
So does that mean you're going to live in the cathedral? No, you don't get accommodation.
I can do if I want, but given that I've already got the house. I say the house, the cupboard. that we lived in. I'll stay there, which means the money that I'll get paid through the cathedral on the kind of grant, I won't have to factor in them taking any money out for accommodation, like paying my rent and stuff, which is kind of nice.
It's also quite a noisy place to live,
yes.
from experience. A lot of parties and goings on at the cathedral, which may surprise some of our readers, but believe me, that's not even a joke. Congrats. So you've been a busy boy when it comes to work then. And not to be fair, I have been a very busy boy when it comes to work, and I don't think I've watched anything new at all since last episode. Like a fair bit of YouTube. Nothing that particularly sticks in the mind, if I'm honest.
I haven't watched any YouTube stuff now for about 3 weeks, and I don't know what's going on with me.
God, how do you survive? That sounds awful.
It's really weird.
Like, I mean, to be fair, I've just been working my way through my Watch Later playlist. There's not like a huge amount that's been coming out at the moment, other than, of course, my video on sun and stratospheric warmings, which everyone should watch. There hasn't been Oh, the last of the last weeks have just come out by Tom Scott, and a new video from Sideways. So I take back what I just said.
Oh yeah, is that the clock one?
Yeah, the clock diagram.
Yeah, well, I haven't watched that one yet. That's actually a lie. I haven't watched it. But the videos that I have been watching on YouTube for the past couple of weeks, I have rewatched some Bill Wirtz and Sideways. He'd be a cool guest, actually, wouldn't he?
He would. I've tweeted at him a few times. I don't know. I'd love to get him on because we're both fans. I think it would be really, really fun to get him on.
Be super interesting.
You know, if you're listening to this, it's Ethan, I believe,
yes.
who runs it. Ethan, if you're a reader, then get in touch. We'd love to have you on. For those of you who don't know, I'll put a link to his channel in the description. He's one of our favorite YouTubers. He's great. Very, very good geeky, musicy, sci-fi, kind of pop culture-y, video games and movies kind of content. If any of those words make you prick your ears up, then check him out because he's great. But yeah, there's not been a huge amount out. A lot of what I've been watching has been interestingly derivative stuff of the Oxcast. There's the stuff that their community has been making, like memes of them. Like there's like some Yognaut on the internet is one of the channels, and then there's like Dark Cat, I think is another one, who does like compilations of when Hat Films act like a hive mind, and they all, without meaning to, do the same thing at the same time. Yeah. Which is something that we were familiar with as a concept. Yeah.
Certainly because of the number of weird moments where we would just do the same thing, say the same thing at the same time. It was very odd.
Yeah, we're kind of a hive mind. We're a very small hive mind of two.
Yes.
But, all the same. So, I mean, yeah, I've been watching a fair bit of that, and then... I fell down a rabbit hole the other day of watching Game Grumps compilations. So I sank...
That's a glorious part of YouTube.
I know. I sank like 2 hours into listening to the best laughter from their Paper Mario playthrough. Just them laughing for 2 hours. Oh my god, it was so much fun.
There's there was the throwback to the period of 48 hours where I watched on repeat the entire Dark Souls 3 series, which works out to be literally about 22 hours of consecutive viewing. I didn't go to bed. I didn't move off the sofa. I ordered takeaways throughout the entire process. It was glorious. But they've also recently started a playthrough of this really horrendous Where's Wally? It's Where's Waldo because it's an American one. But it's like it's done in like 16-bit art style graphic pixely kind of, so you can't see anything. And it's hilarious because you literally are greeted by a screen of pixels, and one of those pixels happens to be Wally. You've got to guess which, and it's hilarious. It's really funny.
Oh my god! Like they're a channel that I've not subscribed to because they just make so much stuff that it would completely clog up my feed in the same way that Good Mythical Morning does, and I don't really watch any Good Mythical Morning anymore.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, God, I do love their stuff. Actually, a channel that is killing it, I think, at the moment is Hat Films. They've been making some really good stuff, like
a lot of live action stuff.
Yeah, a few live action things actually. Yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of their Stationeers game, which is imagine like Minecraft, but it's on the moon and it's a lot more technical, which is like perfect. That's like crack going straight into my veins.
I'm still really liking Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the Chilluminati stream of that the other day, which was fun. Like I don't know. I don't think it'd be worth the money, personally. I don't think I'll get it. I'm still working my way through the value of Civ 6. I'm playing my second game of Civ 6, and I'm about halfway through, being like 6 hours in, or 7 or something.
I played a little bit of Kingdoms and Castles the other day as well, just to pick that up again.
It's so easy, Kingdoms and Castles. I love that game. It's so chill. It's like Netflix and chill video game version. You just kind of like, I don't really want to do anything. Let's just like put this on and then.
And you think you're doing really well, and then you get a Viking raid that you just realise that you try and expand too early, and then the game goes, okay, you think you're good, and then sends you like 4 ogres and 3 ships, and you haven't got a city wall, and you're like, well, I'm sorry everyone, but those 4 large granaries you thought you could afford because you had the materials, no, you're now.
We haven't really watched or listened to anything really of note, have we?
Not really.
we are struggling to fill this section.
I mean, if I can put your Sky interview into Critics Corner, then sure. But to be honest, I think the lack of watching this week more than is made up for by last week's discussion of Black Panther, which was thrilling and way too in depth.
Yeah, we definitely went a little bit overboard on that one.
We just got too excited.
It's such a good
kids on
film.
sugar, being like, and then there was this thing, and this thing, and I just like, yeah, chill out, guys.
And we didn't even talk about like the fact that T'Challa is very similar to Nelson Mandela. Like he's unique amongst Marvel superheroes, and he's so calm and he's kind of level-headed. We didn't. What else didn't we talk about? Like there were so many things which I realized afterwards that we didn't bring up at all. Like the role of women in the film, the fact it's a very feminist film. It's so good. Well, I just don't understand people that have been tweeting saying, yeah, it's all right. It's not that great. It's like, how did you not... I don't know. I think we've had an email or two in from people who've seen Black Panther. We've also had an email from somebody actually who has seen 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Ooh. And I am desperate to watch that film.
Yeah, me too. I was actually just thinking the only other thing that I think could fit into Critics' Corner was I invited some friends over last night and I made a roast. If we were to critique that, it was a bloody good roast.
Oh, very good.
I went to Marks and Spencer and got my meats all sorted. I got a nice bottle of red and a selection of cheeses and a bottle of port for after dinner.
Oh, you're so middle class sometimes.
Some Gillian's chocolate left over from my birthday, so we munched on those, and then we watched an episode of classic Mary Berry. It was bloody marvellous.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, just wow.
It's just great. I was so happy.
Shall we move on to Crisis Corner? We've got
Let's do it.
Top lad.
Dr. Clark, we've just had so many patients in, it's ridiculous. There's been an explosion in the baguette factory.
What? The baguette factory?
Yeah.
Calm down, Nurse Moore.
Okay.
Calm down. Okay.
I mean, I've got a clipboard
slowly
here. There's,
and calmly.
There's so many people. I mean, we've got Connor Levers. We've got Lachlan Woods, John Mannion, Nicholas, Luke Thatcher, Simon Torseth, Alex Greer.
Not Simon Torseth.
Yeah.
What's happened?
His parents, Geordie Eschendale and Miles Cornfield, were there visiting. They're all gone.
It was Take Your Parents to Work Day at the Baguette Factory.
Oh,
of course.
Matt Maguire, Emma Kavanagh, Jay Wright, Angela, Ciara Kelly, wonderful Stephen.
No, don't tell me that Dan Hanvey was there.
Dan Hanvey was there. Tapio Kirkinen was also there.
Okay, right. So we've got all of these patients. We got to get them into the lab unit.
Quick.
We just put them on the gurneys. Just take them in, Nurse Moore.
Nurse Hugo, I need 10 cc's of lad juice. Quick. What, lad juice? Is that what we're going with?
Get the lad juice. Hoik up that skirt, nurse. It's unacceptably long. I want to see the curves of your ass cheeks as you walk away from me.
Simon Vase. He was meant to be the surgeon on today. He's not here. We can't save any of these people.
Oh God! I have to operate with my bare hands. They're not very good for operating. They're like 3 feet across. I got them from a bear.
Doctor, this one needs seeing first. Hang on, let me just read her name badge. It's what is it? It's Ashagu Nagapan Nagasaravanan. I think, Doctor. I think that's it. Does that look right to you?
Yes, Nurse Moore. I'm sure you got that quite right. I mean, I'm just in shock, frankly. Were any baguettes harmed?
I mean,
tell me.
The baguettes are all gone.
No.
Most of them are impaled in Dan Hanvey's face.
No. It's such a lovely face. He must be in so much pan.
Too much pan. So that's a thing that we did.
That's a new thing.
That's a new thing that we're going to do now. Write to us on a postcard if you like that new thing that we are now going to do. Thanks very much for listening. Wow.
Yes. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon, guys. Those are our top lad supporters on Patreon. If you would like to inform a skit like that or be in it,
if you'd like to suggest a scenario, then email us spongyelectric@gmail.com.
And you can support us at patreon.com/thewikicast, where you can donate. Literally, we're just asking people for $1 one way or the other to pledge their allegiance to Team Cat or Team Dog and to keep the podcast running. As we mentioned earlier, we're donating regularly to Wikipedia. We can up that donation, actually. If we maybe hit another milestone, we can up that to $25.
Oh my goodness.
What's happened?
An update on the Team Dog and Team Cat.
Oh, this doesn't sound good.
Team Cat is sitting on 24 patrons. Team Dog, 23. We are getting
unacceptable.
We're getting so close. Team Dog, come on. We can snatch this victory.
If you are listening to this and you're a cat lover and you're not supporting us by literally the cost of a can of Coke a month on the Wikicast Patreon, God damn it, sign up, because we need you right now.
Team Dog, I said it from the beginning.
Desperate.
I believed in you. We can do this. You're the better people here. By next week, we'll be in the lead. We'll be leagues ahead.
I have faith in Team Cat.
Well done, everyone. Well done.
Top lad. So following on from that somewhat bizarre interlude, we now move on to possibly the only serious section of this podcast, which is Crisis Corner. So this is the section where we take one email from a dear reader of ours, detailing a problem that they're having if they're in crisis, and we attempt to offer reasonable advice. I feel like we've done all right so far. I've had criticism from of people before that we've missed out things in our answers, but broadly I feel like we've tried our best, if nothing else. And if you would like to have your crisis read out, then do email us at spongyelectric@gmail.com with Crisis Corner in the subject line, and we will anonymize everything that's sent to that address with Crisis Corner in the subject line. So over to you, Dan, to read out this week's crisis.
So we've got an email here from Anonymous. Anonymous says, "Hi, so I'm contacting you because in a few weeks I'll be moving to a different country to study there. I'm really excited about it, but also really nervous. Let me explain. I'm not the best at socializing. I'm quite introverted, but once you get to know me, I get way more comfortable. So meeting new people isn't really my forte. In addition to that, I'm not quite comfortable with speaking the language of the country I'll be moving to. So this will just make it harder for me to get to know people and be confident enough of my skills to talk with them. Do you have any tips about being more comfortable around people when you know that you're at a quote-unquote disadvantage with them? Thank you for your help, Anonymous." This is interesting because I moved to the Netherlands and lived there for about 3.5 years. Granted, I was fortunate to go to an English-speaking school, but moving to a language moving somewhere where there is a strong language barrier in your day-to-day, which there was for me, it can be quite intimidating.
I can imagine, yeah.
I think. Well, before we tackle the language side, I think moving to a different country to study there, you're going to a new place that's going to be surrounded by new people, regardless of the language thing. That's a big change, especially if you don't think you're the best at socializing, if you think you're quite an introverted person. Simon, what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, I empathize a lot with this person. I mean, I'm not terribly socially confident myself. I definitely, when I moved to Exeter, I was quite anxious about being isolated socially. I think, in my experience, and like, I'm very much viewing this because I've never moved to a country where I don't speak the language. I've only ever lived in the UK. When we've had international students come across to student societies that I've been in, I have yet to meet a single person who has expressed annoyance with somebody who's come in from another country speaking English as a second language or third or fourth language or whatever. I've yet to meet a single person that has reacted, in a way, oh God, why is this person here? Why are we wasting our time with this person? They can't even speak our language. Nobody has said, or I imagine even thought that, really. Because especially if you're going to university, you're going to a place where people are kind of looking forward to meeting people from lots of different backgrounds. And, that means meeting people from other countries who don't speak your language as their first language. So they are kind of expecting to meet people whose command of the language might not be perfect. And I mean, in my experience, people have been completely accommodating of that. And certainly whenever I've been talking to people from, where even from, like various parts of Europe, Asia, the Middle East, whenever I've talked to people in societies, I don't mind if you take like a couple of extra seconds to think, what to say in English, because I can't speak your language at all. If it helps with your social anxiety, don't worry. Know that the people that you're going to be talking to won't mind that your command of the language might not be perfect. And so with saying that, I would recommend that you just go out there and engage with student life as if you were going to somewhere where you did speak the language fluently as your first language. Just get involved, and I think you'll be surprised by how accommodating people will be. Does that ring true to your experience, Dan?
I think that is true. I think the other thing that it might be worth at least thinking about, if you kind of look at this from a slightly different perspective, is that you're going to a country where your grasp of the language isn't nearly as strong as a native speaker, which may almost work in your favor in terms of socializing, because it means that you'll be different and you'll be interesting, and there'll be a change there. To be going somewhere and not be able to speak the language means that you're someone different coming in. It also then gives you it gives you a talking point. You've got you're going to be wholly different to other people. So as far as people reaching out, getting to know you, socializing, it may be easier to do.
I mean, you will also be known as that person from anonymous country. Like, oh, go and check out Anonymous. They're from Anonymous land. Whatever. Can I hear Ed Dunn behind you?
Oh, I don't know if you heard that. Ed said hi and congratulations on the news thing. He just came home.
Thank you, Ed.
I was right about the recording time.
We started at 5, so no, you weren't.
Ooh. World star.
Yeah. Sorry for that brief brief interruption there. But yes, I think Anonymous certainly isn't wrong in thinking that this is a bit of a kind of scary, daunting thing that's going to be happening, but also quite exciting.
Yeah.
When I first moved to the Netherlands, it was really weird, but you're going to be kind of immersed in a culture that's entirely new to you. You're going to be meeting loads of new people. You may yourself be able to kind of slowly develop a relationship with that new language. So there's lots of other things that are exciting there as well. But I think your first point rings really true. People are more accommodating than you might think.
Yeah, I mean, I would be scared in that situation. If you were to tell me, right? I mean, even if you were to give me like 6 months to prepare, say, Spanish or French, like I technically could speak GCSE French, and I'm sure with 6 months I could probably get to a point where I'd be reasonable in conversation. If you were to tell me that, oh, you're going to go and work in France in 6 months' time, I would be terrified. So like, I completely understand Anonymous's situation. I think particularly going into university, you're going in with a great chance of having a great time, yes. Basically. And the whole socially awkward thing, I totally recognize that. That's me completely. So I would just say balls to it and just throw yourself in. If you see something that looks interesting, society that aligns with your interests, just go for it. Don't worry about like, what if this happens, what if that happens. Doesn't matter. Just what's the worst that can happen? You might not have the best time, but the best that can happen is that you potentially make lots of new friends, and you have great experiences and you make lots of contacts that could be really, really valuable in later life. So honestly, I know it's really difficult to actually to take this advice on board, but just try to not get anxious about it and just go for it. Try and be the more confident version of yourself. As Dan said, you can go somewhere and be completely new. So why not go in being the confident version of you?
I think that was pretty good advice.
I think so. I feel like that's more in our comfort zone than being asked about coming out that we got last week.
Yeah.
Because at least I'm socially awkward, but I'm not bi.
Whoa.
I didn't mean that those two are normally connected. Oh, can we talk about what happened to you at the start before we started recording this podcast?
What happened to me before we started recording this podcast?
So we just got on the call to start before we actually press record on our recording devices, and a massive noise goes off in the room with Dan.
Now careful.
And he jumps out of his skin.
Whoa. There's context to this. Before Simon continues, I will give context, but go ahead.
So basically, it turns out that Dan's Apple TV had just been triggered. Triggered. And something had come on. It was a Chris Rock advert or something. And you were like, oh my God. Oh, I thought there was a black man in the house with me. Like,
it scared me because I was very much alone because I was about to start recording, and Ed and a friend were going out to get some food, I think. And just as I was talking to Simon, I suddenly heard Chris Rock shouting, because he shouts a lot in his comedy, but the TV's basically right next to me, which sounded like he was behind me. And I didn't know if maybe Ed hadn't closed the door, and it just really scared me for a moment. And then I just turned it off, because you can use your phone as a remote with an Apple TV, which is pretty groovy. But it was very scary, and I feel like you're making a mockery of how scared I was.
It was more the fact that you were specifically like, I thought there was a black man.
There was no
in
doubt.
The house
when
with
you
me.
hear Chris Rock's voice, you know who it is, and I happen to know that he is a black comedian. Okay.
You could have just said that, like, oh, I thought there was someone in the house with me. Like, it was the specificity of it that I found so funny.
Well, I'm a stickler for specificity. And after that far too strong sense of trying to give out good advice, we're
Prepare
jumping.
for everyone. Prepare for some really terrible advice.
Some co-op irresistible level advice.
That's a high level of advice.
Nah,
Let's bring that down, please. This is Sainsbury's Basics advice.
It's co-op, mate.
I will not have the co-op's name dragged through the dirt like
Well,
that.
just watch me, mate. I'm gonna tread it into
This
the.
is Sainsbury's
I'm gonna drag it through the
Basics.
dirt
This
and
is
tread
the
it into the
bottom of the
carpet.
barrel.
In what world
is
is Sainsbury's lower than co-op?
Sainsbury's Basics. I'm not saying Sainsbury's as a whole.
Okay.
I'd say that co-op is on a slightly higher. Like they're about the same level. I'd say co-op is slightly more premium than Sainsbury's.
You could not be more wrong. Co-op so irresistible, and Sainsbury's taste the difference. Which is the clear winner there?
Well, I can definitely say that the co-op truly irresistible sandwich range was voted the best sandwich range.
Oh wow! Well, I'm currently eating.
I did my research, son.
I'm currently eating. I've had the so irresistible hot cross buns and tea cakes, and I've compared them with the Waitrose special ones, the Marks and Spencer ones, and the Sainsbury's Taste the Difference ones. And they don't compete with Sainsbury's. Sainsbury are leagues ahead.
To me, Sainsbury's are like middle of the road supermarket.
No, that's like
They're
Morrison's.
above Tesco.
That's like Morrison's.
No, Morrison's I'd say would be slightly lower tier. I'd put Morrison's with Tesco.
No, so the order of think for me would go like Poundland.
We'll get to your emails in a second.
Yeah, so I would Poundland, Iceland,
because as you now know, it's called Iceland because it's full of freezers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Poundland, Iceland, McCall's.
Is this all one tier? Are we talking?
No, we're going up from worst to best.
Okay. A lot of these are very similar.
Co-op.
No.
No, actually, that's a lie.
Shame.
Tesco.
Yeah, thank you, at least.
Co-op. Morrison's, Sainsbury's. No, Morrison's, Asda, Sainsbury's.
You're putting Asda
Marks
above
and
Co-op.
Spencer, Waitrose.
You're putting Asda above Co-op.
I totally am.
I could not disagree more strongly.
Okay.
But I mean, like, if we're going from bottom tier is like, as you say, McCall's, Poundland, that kind of range. I'd then put like kind of the basics tier, Tesco and Asda for sure on a level playing field. I'd probably put Sainsbury's a little bit above that, and then I put Co-op a bit above that, and then you've got premium. You've got like Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's.
It does
Harrods,
not go.
I don't know.
Waitrose and Marks and Spencer's is at the top, and then sitting in joint second or third place, Co-op.
I'd welcome emails about this. This is very UK specific.
I really hope we get to imagine after we finish this recording, we get an email in saying, "Hi, we're reaching out from Co-op Marketing. We'd love to advertise you. Quick, we need to re-record the episode."
Well, half of the podcast is completely up for that.
Yeah. And half of the podcast is waiting for Sainsbury's to reach out.
Do you think this is because of brand loyalty? Did you grow up getting Sainsbury's stuff?
No, I think when I was a small child, it was Tesco, and then it gradually shifted to. Also, I can't really take part of the survey because a lot of the kind of the food that I ate as a child wasn't from international. We had like. This is from the Dutch listeners. We had Albert Heijn and Jumbo were the two places that we kind of shopped in. Oh, and V&D, which is the coolest place ever because the top of every store. I think they've gone bust now, which is really sad. They had these amazing food courts with super kind of like fresh, trendy, groovy, think like a French patisserie / bistro kind of place. It was really good. And then Australia was... where do we used to shop mainly there? I can't remember.
I don't know. I can't help you with this.
Yeah.
So.
That's really weird. Genuinely slipped my mind as to where I used to shop in Australia. That's really sad. But anyway, there you go.
I definitely grew up with the supermarket in the village was in Coombe Down. This was a Co-op, And then obviously I work there, so I have like my suspicion is that people have a lot of brand loyalty to the supermarket that they grew up with their parents having.
Speaking as someone who works at Apple, I have no idea what you mean about brand loyalty.
He says after having plugged the Apple TV and the Apple HomePod the previous episode, and
hey Siri, why is Apple the best?
Personally, I'm an Apple fan.
Yeah, see that's why they're the best.
Well, because they buy they program bias into all of their products.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious. What does Google say? Hang on, I've got my assistant here. Sorry, apologies to anyone who's listening to this on a speaker. Okay, Google. Great, my internet doesn't work.
And
we've been having a lot of problems.
My case.
We've been having a lot of problems recording this podcast with my internet. It has been atrocious.
We have.
Let me try that again. Why is Google the best? No, it says can't reach Google. F you, internet.
Oh, bless. I wonder what happens if I ask it. Why is Google the best?
Okay, I found this on the web for the best. Take a look.
Google the best is what she's trying to do. He's trying to do. It's trying to do.
Yeah.
Bless her.
Anyway, back to people's emails, Dan. Have you got one there?
Yeah. We've got one here from Jake Lair. Says, evening, gents. Just a quick one. I remembered that a couple of weeks ago, Dan brought up the documentary Cowspiracy on the Wikicast and gave it very high praise. I'm always a bit sceptical of these kind of documentaries, so after doing some research online, I came across this review on Quora?
Yeah, Quora, yeah.
Which certainly seems to call into question some of the claims in the film. It's definitely worth a read, if only to see the other side of the story, as I think it's always good to look at that in cases that are as controversial as veganism. It shouldn't come as a surprise that some vegans aren't above publishing half-truths as propaganda to further their cause. The broadest claims of the documentary, however, are apparently true, and I agree that we could all probably do with eating less meat, if only for health reasons, never mind the environmental impacts, but filmmakers should deceive their audience in order to accomplish this effect. I think he means
I
that
completely agree with that.
filmmakers shouldn't deceive their audience in order to accomplish this effect.
I completely agree with that. I think it's a criticism I've heard of Cowspiracy before, that it does just over-egg it a bit. It's so important in a debate as with such vociferous opposition as climate change and vegetarianism and veganism. You've got to get your facts right.
Yeah.
Like, you can't overstate things, because it's like with gun control. What you see at the moment with people will jump on the slightest mistake.
Oh, did you see the comments of the president of the NRA?
I've heard various comments from him. Which specifically do you mean?
Grade A twat. That's what he is.
I mean, that sounds about on point for him, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But let's not get into this debate, because obviously the NRA are in the wrong. But yeah, like, you've got to get your facts straight with these things. Like, and yeah, I have heard that about Cowspiracy before, that it is just slightly dubious on a few fronts.
It's interesting. It's an interesting
really.
watch, though. It isn't. It is worth watching.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, and I imagine I will watch it and then raise an eyebrow at a few of the statistics, because yeah, I'm expecting them to be slightly wrong. But yes, the point that if we did eat less meat and a few animal products, we would. It's the easiest way as an individual to cut your greenhouse gas emissions significantly. It's the reason I'm vegetarian. I don't particularly care about like the ethics of eating animals. Animals eat other animals. That's why we have canines. You know. We're designed to do it, but I can't be a climate scientist and consciously eat meat whilst knowing how much damage it does to the planet. So that's why I implore people to consider either vegetarianism or just cutting down on meat, because it's literally the easiest way you can have a significant positive impact on the planet. Other than dying, but you know, most people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have an email from longtime reader George M. Hecking Ready George is back. And he's actually written us what I think is quite a delightful, really quite nice little poem. So here we go. His email. Dear Bap and Baguette. I have no idea which one of... Does that refer to our penises, do you think?
I think I must be Bap.
Well, you've got a chode, is what you're saying.
No, a Bap is smaller than a baguette.
Oh, I see. Well, but Baps are like short and, you know, wider than they are tall.
I mean... Again, never did I agree to this being about penises. I feel like you're just the bigger person. Baguette fits more than Bap.
All right, well, I've got my baguette penis. Great. Glad that we established that. So his email continues. Here is a thing. I'm hard to read, but you don't need to crack a cipher to know I'm delighted, because I'm at the department store buying bread that costs 22% more than it should, but I'm smiling because I'm wired into the Wikicast. It's an hour a week. It doesn't cause a shower of tweets or flowers at feet, but it built a community. It's an hour less bleak, gives us an opportunity, a creative outlet since that episode on Krauschwitz, where you said never to doubt this thing we enjoy, whatever it is, because hobbies aren't cool, they're life's gifts. Kind regards, Hecking Ruddy George.
Oh, Hecking Ruddy George is so pure.
That's really nice. I like that. Like as I mentioned earlier, like, this community is amazing. That's sprung up around this podcast. It's so wholesome. I just love it. Yeah.
Also, Hecking Ruddy George really knows how to working a good line of enjambment, if you will, which I f***ing love. It reads nicely. Well done.
Great job.
Thanks, Hecking Ruddy George. Love you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Ooh. Hike up that skirt.
Here you go. It also says P.S. bread.
Yeah.
We've got a Henry here from Email Brewster. It says, hang on, let's try that again. We've got an email here from Henry Brewster. It says, jingles all the way. Dear Messrs. Clark and Moore, apologies to Dan for the order of the names. I just think it sounds better that way round. However, I hope that it can be forgiven, as I am also a dove-loving tenor. Good man. Totally forgiven. I'm a first-time writer but long-time reader of the Wikicast, and I'd just like to say how much I bloody love the podcast. It's become one of the highlights of my week. Thank you so much for creating it, and I've really enjoyed seeing how it's risen into a baguettist cult. It has. This is true. An episode or two ago, you asked where readers read the podcast. Last summer, when I was home from university, I did a few bits of DIY while listening to the podcast, including the Wikicast. One of the things I made was a welly rack from pieces of scrap wood, which I'm quite proud of. Photo attached. It looks good. I like it.
Let's have a look. Hang on. Oh, my internet's so slow. It's a 200 kilobyte file, and it's taking an age to load.
It's a lovely. I mean, while Simon waits for the little hamster wheel to spin around, so he gets enough internet. In episode 23, Simon said he'd thought that the Top Lads corner needed a theme tune and proceeded to attempt to sing.
Oh, that's lovely. Nice job.
Yeah, right?
I like that.
Sing the Peel and Dean music, which is actually called Asteroid. I ran with this idea and created something a little more professional. Only as I was about to send this email, I realised that using Asteroid in the use case probably doesn't count as fair usage. But if it does constitute fair usage, yay, here's a jingle for you. If not, oh well, never mind. Enjoy it either way. I hope you like it. Keep up the good work, chaps. All the best. Henry, aged 20 and 1/4. And he's also sent us a little thing.
I can't listen to it because of how I'm recording.
I'm going to listen to this now.
Top Lad. Okay, well that's going to go in the podcast.
I like it.
Thank you very much, Henry.
It's less than it's a 5-second audio file.
Yeah, they should be fine.
So it should be fine because it's 6, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, Henry, that's awesome. Good stuff.
Next up, we have an email from the Moustache Man on Twitter, who has basically just sent us a recipe for baguettes. Top work there. I have been very, very tempted to go to Exeter or get Dan, not Exeter, up to Bristol and just try and make baguettes because I think it'd be hilarious. So the baguette Moustache Man has been making an awful lot of memes. And top work, it's got to be said, including he's sent us a link to the Wikipedia, the homepage of our wiki, which has got one of the greatest URLs I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's glorious.
It's wikicast.wikia.com/wiki/ Wikicast wiki. / That's
I'm a big fan of that.
I couldn't. Hang on, I'm gonna have to try that again because it's like a tongue twister. / Wikicast.wikia.com/wiki/ Wikicast_wiki. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, /
And for those who prefer using a / that's wikicast.wikia.com / wiki / Wikicast_wiki. Amazing.
You're a twat. So the other thing to point out is Moustache Man has also sent us a new fan fiction. Now we are actually running very low on time this time round, but I have marked that one to be read, and we will have a look at that in the future. So yeah, we are aware of it, just to let you know. Even if we're not doing it this time, it's in the inbox.
Also, the Moustache Man deserves a medal for his contributions to the memeage of the Wikicast community. It's tiresome. It's up there with Thesis Beard and Dan's forehead. You're all doing amazing work.
If anything, a little too tireless. It's really quite astonishing the rate at which you pump these things out, guys.
Too tireless. Go to bed. my love. Have a sleep. Don't forget to, rest.
So, Dan, what have we learned today?
Well, today, Simon, we learnt about 2001: A Space Travesty, which might be the most amazing film we're yet to ever see. We will be doing a viewing of this at some point. Maybe it would be cool if we could do a viewing where we can watch it with readers. That'd be kind of exciting.
Oh my god, that's an amazing idea. Yes.
I mean,
the thing is, we actually did learn about it this time round. We actually stayed on the wiki for once.
Pop quiz, Simon. What was the budget?
$45 million?
Good man.
Yeah. They don't give out those degrees for nothing.
Got it. We also discussed
my nuclear dream.
Yeah. God, your nuclear dream. We discussed that both of us really haven't been watching or kind of doing anything, with the exception of listening to a lot of stuff.
But we have been partying and being interviewed by Sky News. So we've not been watching much. We've been making stuff, making memories. I finally
reached the time where I felt it was okay to talk about Exeter Cathedral, because obviously I didn't want to talk about it in the first week afterwards because I hadn't heard anything back, and it'd be really awkward if I didn't get it. But I did. So yay.
Round of applause for Dan, everyone. If you're listening, give him a little clap, little tiny, even if it's just a little thumb and finger. Unless you like ballroom dancing. I had a message from Cellular Page the last time on the last Wikicast. She got to that bit and was like, "Oh, come on!" Like she knows I hate ballroom dancers and just finds it hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, even if you do like ballroom dancing, give Dan a little clap, little kind of. It almost looks like I'm pinching, like crab pincers. Give him a little.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, and thank you for we got quite a few emails and kind of messages from people wishing me a happy birthday. That was really nice. Thank you.
Oh, of course, yeah. Actually, happy birthday. We didn't say that. Yes.
Yeah, it was really lovely. We had a really, really interesting agony aunt, agony uncle corner thing. Which hopefully the advice we gave was good. Anonymous, we have absolute faith in you. It's going to be all right.
I felt like we had a bit more authority to give advice to someone who's socially awkward, Like, I felt like we were more in our comfort zone this time round. Although we pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone with attempting to say thank you to our Patreons. Let us know what you thought of that. That was a little bit of a 5-minute madness that we had.
Yeah. It was fun, though. That's now going to become a regular segment. And, wow. God forbid how that's going to go.
Do send us your ideas to spongyelectric@gmail.com, but keep them clean, for goodness sakes.
Please.
That's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. You can like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Patreon scenario suggestions, supermarket rankings, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole, and we'll see you next time. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough to make high quality audio without my internet. Can you hear me, Daniel Moore? No, he can't. This is where we are. In the sesh, he can't hear my audio. I can't believe me, this is annoying.